Imagine walking into a room filled with people, each carrying a cloud above their heads. Some clouds are dark and heavy, weighing down every movement and every thought. Others are light, almost transparent, moving with ease as their owners go about their day. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to carry sunlight wherever they go, while others struggle under invisible storms? This is the heart of the story we are about to explore, a story that teaches us how the mind shapes our life, and how positive thinking can open doors we never even knew existed. The journey begins with a man named Norman, a regular person who felt trapped by ordinary worries. He worked in an office where deadlines were strict and expectations even stricter. Each morning, Norman woke up feeling tired before he even started his day. He noticed that no matter how much effort he put in, he rarely felt satisfied with the results. One day, while walking home from work, he passed by a small bookstore. The sign read, "Discover the power of your mind." Curious, he stepped inside. Among the shelves, he found a book with a simple cover, titled The Power of Positive Thinking. Little did he know, this book would start a transformation that would change not only his attitude but his entire life. As Norman flipped through the pages, he encountered a message that seemed almost too simple to be true. It said that the thoughts we entertain most often create the reality we experience. At first, he was skeptical. How could thinking positively truly affect his life? But as he read on, the book told stories of people who had turned their lives around simply by changing their mental habits. There was a man who had faced bankruptcy yet recovered through faith in himself and a positive vision of the future. There was a woman who had suffered illness for years, and her recovery began when she replaced fear and doubt with confidence and hope. Norman began to realize that perhaps his own heavy cloud could be lifted by the very thoughts he allowed to dominate his mind. The book explained that one of the first steps toward positive thinking is the art of controlling worry. Worry, it said, is like a thief that steals the energy we need to act. Every time we dwell on negative outcomes, we give power to fear and uncertainty. Norman thought about the hours he spent replaying mistakes in his mind, imagining worst-case scenarios, and how this habit drained him of energy and happiness. The idea that he could train his mind to focus on what he could control, rather than what he feared, struck him as revolutionary. He began practicing small exercises. Each morning, he would take a few minutes to think about good things he hoped to see in his day, and each evening, he would reflect on moments that had gone well. Slowly, he noticed a change. His steps felt lighter, and his conversations with colleagues became warmer. Faith in oneself, the book insisted, was another cornerstone of positive thinking. This was not faith in luck or chance, but a firm belief that one has the ability to overcome obstacles. Norman remembered times when he had doubted his abilities, avoiding challenges for fear of failure. The book challenged him to imagine himself succeeding, not as a vague wish, but as a clear picture in his mind. He learned that visualization could act as a rehearsal for real-life success. By seeing himself handling difficult situations calmly, speaking confidently in meetings, or completing tasks with ease, he began to prepare his mind to act with confidence. But the lessons went deeper than just thinking positively. The book emphasized the power of words, both spoken and unspoken. The language we use with ourselves and others shapes our inner world. Norman realized he often spoke with defeat in his tone, even when the words themselves were neutral. "I'll try," he would say, which carried the hidden assumption of possible failure. The book suggested replacing "I'll try" with "I will" or "I can," reinforcing belief rather than doubt. It also stressed the importance of speaking kindly to others, as positivity spreads like sunlight, lifting both the speaker and the listener. Norman began practicing this too, noticing that simple encouragement could change the energy of an entire room. Another profound idea Norman discovered was the relationship between gratitude and positive thinking. Gratitude, the book explained, is more than a polite gesture. It is a mental practice that reshapes perception. When we focus on what we appreciate, we notice abundance rather than lack. Norman began keeping a journal, noting simple blessings each day. At first, it felt awkward, but soon, he found himself seeking moments of joy more actively, like noticing the way sunlight reflected on his coffee cup or enjoying the laughter of a coworker. Gratitude became a lens through which he could see the world not as a series of problems, but as a place full of opportunities. Perhaps the most remarkable lesson was about faith in the unseen. The book taught that while we cannot control every event, we can choose our responses. Life will bring challenges, but our reactions, powered by positive thinking, determine the outcomes. Norman remembered a time when a major project at work went wrong. He initially panicked, imagining how this would affect his career. But now, he paused, took a deep breath, and asked himself, "What can I learn from this? How can I use this to improve?" Instead of despair, he felt a surge of clarity and determination. His positive response opened doors to solutions he had never considered before. As the days passed, Norman began noticing changes in ways that went beyond work. His relationships improved as he radiated calmness and confidence. People started coming to him for advice, noticing a steadiness they had not seen before. Even his health seemed to respond. He slept better, felt more energetic, and experienced fewer stress-related aches. The simple act of training his mind to think positively was transforming not just his mood, but the quality of his entire life. The stories in the book reminded Norman that positive thinking is not about ignoring reality or pretending life is perfect. It is about choosing focus, strengthening belief, and taking action with confidence. It is about understanding that the mind can be a garden, and the thoughts we plant will grow. Neglect or fear will produce weeds, but care, optimism, and faith will produce flowers. This shift in perspective made Norman wonder about the unseen forces guiding his life. Was it coincidence that he had stumbled upon this book at such a low point? Or was it the universe nudging him toward a path of growth and fulfillment? By now, Norman's mornings were different. He began walking with purpose, aware of the invisible cloud above his head transforming into light. Every challenge became an opportunity to practice patience, perseverance, and positivity. He began to share what he learned with friends and family, often recounting the stories from the book to illustrate how anyone could reshape their life through thought and action. Each story inspired more reflection, more curiosity, and more hope, and so, the journey continues. Norman's story is just one example of the power each person holds within. The book, like a mirror, reflected his potential and challenged him to act on it. Every day offered a new lesson, a chance to practice patience, faith, gratitude, and self-belief. By changing his thoughts, he changed his world. By changing his world, he found that life itself seemed to respond with unexpected opportunities, joy, and fulfillment. As Norman continued on his path of positive thinking, he discovered that life often challenges us in ways we cannot predict. One morning, he received news that a close friend had been struggling with serious health issues. The instinctive reaction would have been worry and despair, yet Norman paused. He remembered the lessons he had been learning, focus on what could be done, maintain faith, and offer support with optimism. He called his friend, not with pity, but with encouragement, sharing stories of hope and reminding them of inner strength they might have forgotten. In that moment, Norman realized that positive thinking is not just personal, it reaches outward, touching the lives of everyone around us. The book had also taught him about persistence. Life is rarely smooth, and setbacks are inevitable. The mind, however, can be trained to meet challenges not with fear, but with determination. Norman faced a professional obstacle when a promotion he had worked toward was given to someone else. In the past, he would have felt bitterness or disappointment, allowing resentment to settle like a heavy fog. But now, he reflected on the situation differently. He asked himself what lessons he could take, what new skills he could develop, and how he could prepare for future opportunities. He realized that positive thinking does not remove failure, but it transforms the experience, turning setbacks into stepping stones for growth. A surprising discovery came when Norman observed the effect of positive thinking on his creativity. Previously, he had felt stuck, limited by doubts and insecurities. Now, as he allowed his mind to embrace optimism and possibility, ideas flowed more freely. Solutions to problems that once seemed insurmountable appeared with ease. He found himself writing, planning, and brainstorming with renewed energy. It was as if the mind, relieved of worry and doubt, had space to expand, to explore, and to innovate. Positive thinking, Norman understood, is not just about emotional well-being, it is a tool for unlocking potential. Another lesson came from the book's emphasis on faith in others. Norman noticed that when he assumed the best in people, interactions changed. He listened more attentively, responded with kindness, and encouraged collaboration rather than competition. In turn, colleagues became more supportive, friends more open, and even casual acquaintances seemed drawn to his presence. Optimism, he realized, is contagious. By holding a positive vision of others, he helped them see their own strengths. A smile, a word of encouragement, or simply expecting the best can shift the dynamics of any relationship. Gratitude continued to play a central role in his transformation. Norman began practicing gratitude not only for pleasant experiences but also for challenges. Understanding that obstacles often carry hidden lessons. He would reflect on difficult conversations, missed opportunities, or personal struggles, seeking what each experience could teach. This mindset turned moments that once felt painful into opportunities for growth. Norman's journal expanded, filled with observations of beauty, kindness, and resilience, both in himself and in the world around him. Each entry reinforced a sense of abundance, making him more alert to everyday blessings. Positive thinking, as the book described, also strengthened Norman's sense of purpose. He noticed that when thoughts are aligned with meaningful goals, energy and motivation naturally increase. He no longer approached life as a series of tasks to complete but as a journey filled with moments to experience and lessons to learn. Each day became an opportunity to live intentionally, to act with courage, and to influence others positively. Norman discovered that purpose gives direction to optimism, ensuring that hope is grounded in meaningful action rather than wishful thinking. Health, both mental and physical, responded to these shifts as well. Stress-related tension decreased, sleep became more restorative, and he experienced a sense of vitality he had not felt in years. He began exercising more consistently, not out of obligation but from a desire to honor his body. He ate with more awareness, choosing foods that nourished him. Positive thinking, he realized, was not an abstract idea, it was a living practice that influenced every aspect of his life. The mind, body, and spirit were interconnected, and nurturing one inevitably supported the others. One evening, while reflecting on his journey, Norman considered the book's final message: positive thinking is a lifelong practice, not a one-time effort. Thoughts must be nurtured daily, habits maintained, and faith reinforced. The mind, like a garden, requires ongoing care. Neglect allows weeds of doubt and negativity to return, but consistent attention cultivates a flourishing, resilient life. Norman understood that each day offered choices, small or large, that could either reinforce or undermine the mental patterns he had worked to establish. Awareness and conscious effort were key. Norman also learned that positive thinking often requires courage. It is easier to complain, to dwell on problems, or to succumb to fear than to face challenges with optimism. Each decision to choose hope over despair, action over inertia, or confidence over doubt strengthened his character. He realized that courage and positivity are intertwined. The heart of optimism lies in the willingness to confront reality with faith, rather than escape into denial. Every act of courage, no matter how small, fueled a cycle of resilience and success. As the story draws toward a reflection, Norman's life had transformed profoundly. Challenges still appeared, as they always will, but he met them with clarity, energy, and optimism. Relationships deepened, professional opportunities grew, and his sense of well-being flourished. The invisible cloud that had once followed him dissipated, replaced by a lightness that allowed him to move through life with confidence and joy. Positive thinking had become more than a mindset, it had become a way of life, and now, imagine yourself walking alongside Norman, experiencing the same lessons. Picture the clouds above your own life, and consider what it would feel like to lift them with consistent thought, faith, and gratitude. Positive thinking is not magic, but a disciplined choice that transforms ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. The stories Norman learned from the book are available to everyone who chooses to look for them, to nurture them, and to act upon them. As we conclude, reflect on your own mind as a garden, your thoughts as seeds, and your life as the landscape they create. What will you choose to plant today? How will you nurture your inner world so that it flourishes and reaches outward, touching every part of your life? I share stories like this every day. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one.